Well, Matt, I appreciate you coming to the call today. The purpose of this is to just get a testimony, your honest opinion of what it was like before you became a client with Replace Your Mortgage and what life is like after you become a client with Replace Your Mortgage. We want to share this video with folks that are contemplating becoming a client of Replace Your Mortgage or haven't even heard of Replace Your Mortgage. And I want them to know what the opportunities are, what the pitfalls are, and just your honest opinions of your journey to where you're at now before you got on board with Replace Your Mortgage and after. So my first question is how did you come to learn of Replace Your Mortgage?
It's a funny story. I was looking for the score on the Astros game on YouTube, and then your commercial popped up.
Yeah.
And it just so happened, I guess it popped up because I was looking to refinance. And so I saw that, and I heard what you guys were saying. It intrigued me. You offered a free online book. So I downloaded that. It was just packed with a lot of information, and so I had to find out more information. So that's how I first heard about Replace Your Mortgage.
Gotcha. It's just you were on a website and saw an ad for us, and then awesome.
Yep.
Cool. I think that's called a retargeting ad. So something about your profile matches what we look for in a client, and our ads guy, they do a phenomenal job getting business for us, and
I'm thankful.
You became a client, so I'll give a shout out to those guys. It's John Belcher and Kenny. They do an excellent job marketing for the company. All right. So that's how you heard about us. Now, what was your initial thoughts? Obviously, you read the book and you dissected that, but what was your initial thoughts when you heard of this concept?
My initial thoughts were, this can't be true. I was like, because we had just bought the house 2 years ago, and we were trying to refinance into something better, and we're looking at 30 years to pay off our home. And the whole idea is that it's not magic, it's math, and you're not like getting a whole nother job, making a whole nother salary. You're just repurposing your cash in a certain way that it'll pay off the house in like 7 years. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let me look into this.
Yeah. So obviously you were very skeptical to begin with. We get that. It's too good to be true.
Yeah.
You get that all the time. And what I try to explain to people is we're not really doing anything new. This is actually old. And this is older than the modern day mortgage. We're just going back to basics and teaching people appropriate finance that most other countries do to this day. In fact, the United States might be one of the last first world countries that still finances real estate the archaic way that we do. And I know that's weird coming from a guy that did mortgages for 15 years, but you can't unknow once you learn it. But all right, so you were skeptical. Now, what was the journey like to becoming a client? So how did you get over that skepticism? Obviously you booked a discovery call with one of our consultants. So what did that journey look like between you and your spouse?
Sure. I'm a real numbers guy. So like I create a budget and a spreadsheet and all that stuff. So really talking through how it worked and then working with the calculator, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That I could see the numbers, I could change the numbers. I could say, what happens if I lose a job? What happens if I pick up a side hustle and just make like an extra $100 a week, which, doing that towards your principal, in some instances it could chop off the years, you know what I mean? Because it's going straight to your principal. And then I asked the phone guy a bunch of questions, but then I also talked with a member who was doing it. And that guy was on fire. Because he had saved so much money and paid off so much over the past 9 months of actually doing this strategy. Mm-hmm. So after hearing all that, seeing it, checking into it, I was like, I need to do this.
Awesome. So back to the calculator, something else, believe it or not, we get this all the time. Well, the calculator's probably fixed. You guys had it programmed a certain way to spit out a certain number. Do you find that to be true?
No, because you can kind of pick apart and do the calculator yourself if you wanted to, you know what I mean? Because it's real simple math with the simple interest and how much you make and putting on the principal. So
Right.
the only trick is that the mortgage payment is already in the calculator, so you leave that out.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're replacing the mortgage.
Because we actually have a video right up above the calculator. So for anybody that's watching this and they go to our website and play with the calculator, there's a video above it that gives them instructions on how to use the calculator. Because a lot of people do make that mistake. They're like, oh, wow, I can go from 30 years to 11.
Right.
And then when we dig into the numbers, like, it's not 11, it's 7. Because they
right.
mortgage payments. Like, you wouldn't continue sending a mortgage payment to your lender if you didn't owe them anything. So
right.
some people double dip in that situation, or sometimes they even put in their HELOC payment, which is already calculated in there. If you click view report, you'll see the full payment schedule.
Yeah.
Is already accounted for. Awesome.
Exactly.
Now, what is your honest opinion of the education? Now that you've gone through the education, you've had a chance to dissect it all, what's your honest opinion of it?
I liked it. Really good, concise videos. It really breaks down the banking system, really breaks down mortgages, breaks down why mortgages are pushed, because there's so much commission surrounding it. And then the HELOC, there's not a lot of commission surrounding it. There's a lot of added bonuses, like where to find extra income, how to cut expenses, the IBC banking stuff, and different ways to use HELOCs, how to get HELOCs. I mean, I loved it. I really did.
That's something that doesn't get talked a lot about. When folks are looking at our program, they think that we're just someone that teaches a HELOC strategy, and they don't realize that there's more to it than that. We get into cash flow strategies, offset accounting, different types of investing, because depending on where you're at in your life cycle, it doesn't always make sense to be debt-free. If you have access to that capital, why not leverage it to go create more passive income? And the more passive income you create for yourself, the faster you can pay it off as well. So again, this is all about cash flow positivity. The more money you make compared to what you spend, the faster you're going to be able to expand while maintaining liquidity. But my new favorite, and when I say new, probably in the last 2 years, is the IBC, infinite banking concepts.
Yeah.
Because really what we've done is we said replace your mortgage, but who are you replacing the mortgage lender with? The bank. Yeah, it's cheaper.
Right.
It's less interest, but you're still paying interest to a third party, right? Now, let's take the next natural progression and start utilizing some tools where you can replace the bank altogether. Now, it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that takes work and it takes discipline to accumulate. But once you accumulate it, you become the bank. So you need to finance a car, a boat. I wouldn't recommend doing that. But, if you wanted to, you could. A house, investment.
Exactly.
You become not just the bank owner, you become the banker, you become the borrower, and the depositor. You are now all four parties of that transaction. And those four parties is what is the largest industry in this country, which is banking. You become that. You become your own economy at that point. So, all right, now, what are your results thus far? How long have you been a client, and what are the results thus far?
Sure. So we closed on our HELOC. It was actually December 24th. And we went as a family to, Sears or somebody, and did the little Christmas photo. Mm-hmm. So it was so funny. I went on the Facebook group and I posted, hey, we got our HELOC December 24th, and here's our Christmas photo. So straight away from there, we had like a month and a half where we didn't have to pay our mortgage, which was almost the amount that I paid for this program, right? So that almost covered that. Then we had a little bit of equity that we could use. So I went ahead and paid off both of our cars, my wife's student loans, which was like around $10,000, but we had a $250 payment, and then some credit card debt. And so all of that was like around $40,000, but it was $1,000 a month that I was paying. So I created $1,000 a month in cash flow to put on the principal. And so, fast forward 6 months, I've paid off, it's like right around $30,000 on my HELOC. And it created an opportunity that there's a house kind of like in the nicer part of our neighborhood where there's some water, there's a golf course, there's pools, and there was a short sale in really good condition, and so I put the earnest money down. We signed a contract, and the approval process took several months, but we're closing on it at the end of the month. Nice. And then we're going to rent out our home we're living in now, and it's just like, and the IBC, learning about that. We just had the consultation. The nurse just came and drew the blood and all that stuff, and so we're getting that process going. And I'm like, my life has taken a new direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this has just been 6 months. So the amount of information I learned from the Facebook group, I can talk to Matt Workman, shoot you guys emails or whatever about this, that, bounce ideas. It's just incredible. And we're moving at the end of the month to a nice house, and you can see water from the front yard when the foliage is down.
Yeah.
So come on.
That's super cool. So you touched on a couple points there. One, what I heard because of my nerdy analytical mind in this topic, not all topics. Some people are like, you're super smart.
Right.
You don't really know me. But what I heard was liquidity. If you had a mortgage, what you did is you capitalized on a short sale. And some of those short sales, you've got days to act on those. And if you had a mortgage that you were paying down and you had that $30,000 worth of equity, it's going to take you 30 or 45 days to access it in order to capitalize on that opportunity. But because of the HELOC, boom, instantaneous equity, liquidity, so you can get that now you're going to turn this property into a rental, right? So now you've got even more. Right. So not only did you pay off your debts to create $1,000 of cash flow, now you're going to turn this one into a rental, and now you're a real estate investor and more passive income coming in. So you're going to accelerate the process. So you're on pace. If everything stayed the same, you're on pace for $60,000 reduction in the first year towards your principal while still maintaining liquidity.
Right.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Well, cool. Any other thoughts that you want to share real quick?
Yeah, I guess that's it. It's just the peace of mind that comes with it. I know you put on that in one of your videos, you know what I mean? It's like, well, what happens if I lose my job? What happens if this happens? You know what I mean? I'm not going to lose my house because I have a HELOC. I got a pile of cash over here that I can draw on. You know what I mean? And the other thing is like working the calculator. What happens if the interest rates go up? Well, we're attacking the balance so fast, it doesn't matter. So it's almost like the risk. You know what I mean? Really, we start to minimize the risk through these things and start to answer some of those fears. And before you know it, you're just going to end up in a whole different place. You know what I mean? I'm going to have my house paid off in 7 years. Isn't that amazing?
And that's touched on. If interest rates continue to go up, which they haven't, they stalled out at this point, and we're this video recorded in July of 2019. But interest rates are about to go down, and now 100% of the economists agree that July will be the first rate cut of several rate cuts. So you gain efficiencies there. But if your income never increases, if your expenses never decrease, then you're still having it paid off in 7 years without breaking a sweat. But if those things change in your favor, you speed it up. It's a beautiful thing. It's cool.
It's beautiful.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I greatly appreciate you doing this. I hope it helps other folks that are contemplating, becoming a client. So I appreciate taking the time out of your day to do this. And I appreciate
Of course, and appreciate you guys.
It was another thing.
What's that?
I appreciate your feedback in the Facebook group too. You're very active in the Facebook group, and a lot of people don't realize that about us. Is we have a private Facebook group for just our clients, and there's thousands of people in there, and there's folks like you in there that are very intelligent professionals, CPAs, insurance professionals, financial planners, engineers, real estate investors. So it's a large group of people that, I love the response time. You've got a question, you type a question in there, boom, within 5 minutes, you probably got 10 know-it-alls that are, telling you what their opinion is. But, you also,
exactly.
Matt is one of our more valuable members of our team. And, we have almost 24/7 support. So we've got that live chat feature. So when you're dealing with Matt and you're getting support, what's the response time that you typically see?
It's quick. I mean, there's some people just sitting on Facebook, and then it can be just a matter of hours, or if it's like hey, I'm looking at this bank, and usually I'm getting stuff within 6 to 8 hours that day. That's the response time. It's pretty quick.
That's what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to force feed the time frame, but I wanted to hear the same day and that we're on top of it. So awesome, Matt.
Exactly.
Well, you have a good rest of your day. Thank you again for doing this.
You're welcome, and thank you guys.
Yes, sir. God bless.